it ain't a lie. I know the most important phrase to tell a style. Accept that, live forever so it never dies. Kill the body, but in Christ, the spirit rise. It's an impossible task. Your life a rag, soaked in oil from the heat. Your blood boil, hellfire continues. Toil. I promise you, good is never good enough. It's rough. The law reveals you need a savior, huh? Yeah. So step up and kneel down in repentance. It is finished. The Greek to tell us die. He meant it. His only son, Christ, he sent him. Mentioned in the OT, Christophanies, prophecies attest. Christ came to die a blessing. God bless it. Put your faith in the sacrifice. Just confess it. Let him reign and rule in your life. Blood invested in options and stock and eternal life despite your sin. What a friend, the Father and Spirit akin. All God, all the time, he exists out of and in. He's omnipotent. He calls me friend from accepted salvation. It is finished. He's Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. I speak Greek, and it ain't a lie. I know the most important phrase to tell us die. Accept that, live forever so it never dies. Kill the body, but in Christ, the spirit rise. I speak Greek, and it ain't a lie. I know the most important phrase to tell us die. Accept that, live forever so it never dies. Kill the body, but in Christ, the spirit rise.
Yeah, gray beard, even us, round diggy, skid it. Since I'm in a position to talk to these kids and they listen to blood of Christ, I'm sipping, trying to get them used to repentance. Said over 500 winnings back from his death and they shared it. His resurrection is for his children and you can inherit it. Hallelujah, the tomb is empty, moves from the spirit. He shed his blood, forgives every heart. The lesson canary, now I got Satan confused. He's trying to use you to get near him, but he's a lamb. What's at the altar's left for him to bear it. I got a problem with those who using my God as a mean, but I'm delivered, so I forgive him, let Christ intervene. I don't go hard on the heartless, tell him Christ forgives all. How do I know? Cause his blessings is saving this alcoholic. Now do you know what it takes to get your name inked in his tablet? He said 6 days that we all should labor, but give God the Sabbath. So here we go, with Chicken Joy, Jehovah Jireh, and I'm a witness to Telestai. He said it's finished.
I speak Greek, and it ain't a lie. I know the most important phrase to tell us die. Accept that, live forever so it never dies. Kill the body, but in Christ, the spirit rise. I speak Greek, and it ain't a lie. I know the most important phrase to tell us die. Accept that, live forever so it never dies. Kill the body, but in Christ, the spirit rise. It is finished.
Test 1 2 1 2. Shout out to Chris the Graybeard and Realm Diggy. To Tell Us Die. Hot new track from Chris the Graybeard. On the intro of this episode 192 of AC Sports Live, I'm AC, and you're the Peopleization. Thank you for tuning in once again, and thank you for supporting the show these last 4.5 years. It's been fun. Wouldn't be here without you. Full show tonight. NCAA Final Four is set. Women's and men's have a Final Four for the ages. We have a bettors pool for the men's with all number ones making it to the Final Four. And then women's side, we have a little bit of parity, but we have some favorites that may not be number ones. We'll talk about that. My tender love today, Stephen A. and LeBron. Knock it off. NFL coaches still against the tush push. Talk about that quickly. My 2 cents. Sprint to the comments is back. Saw something that made me sprint to the comments, and the comments did not disappoint. Coach Cobb's Corner, some things that I've been noticing with some student athletes that might help a parent or two, a coach or two in UNC season. I only have one, and it's a good one. So I can't wait to show you that one. In the meantime, this is AC Sports Live. Let's get it.
He ain't never slumber, never put him to the test. He be reigning king forever, resurrected after death. All praise to God, brother, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, all praise to the one.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Even B. Kim. The Say It With Your Chest track for my intro song. You see, supporting the local gospel rappers, letting them get some love here in 2025. Really good brothers, man. Chris the Graybeard, aka better known as Chris Brunell, Realm Diggy, Even B Kim. Positive brothers, man. Putting out some positive tracks. All right, the Final Four is set. College basketball this year. Gotta say, the women dominated my watch minutes. I did not watch a ton of men's college basketball this year. It wasn't appealing. There's no more star factor. We had Cooper Flagg and a couple of guys, the kid from Auburn and a kid from Florida, but nobody's jumping off the page. We were spoiled in the 80s and 90s. When guys played to their junior and sometimes senior year, we had household names of basketball stars who played in college, and you could not wait for those matchups. We had the Big East, the Pac-10, where you had guys that you knew for sure would play in the NBA because they were just that good in college. Not the case anymore, man. So all you really have to go off of is the rivalries of the college, the blue bloods, the prestige of the college, and now we have the NIL who put the most money into their roster. The women's game, on the other hand, all these young ladies are household names. All these young ladies are making quite a bit of money, as we heard a story of a young lady saying she's going to forego the WNBA draft and stay for another year, but she's going to be in the transfer portal. It's a different day, and we all can agree things have changed in a real way in college athletics. But the women's Final Four is set beginning this Friday. The matchups are as follows. The early game is South Carolina versus Texas. Dawn Staley and her ladies of South Carolina are primed to win another championship. Texas, on the other hand, has a very good chance of making this a very good game. The Lady Gamecocks are favored by 4.5 points, which is not a lot. But going into the Final Four to make it to the championship game on Sunday, South Carolina is favored to do so. The second game that same evening on Friday, my UCLA Bruins, led by Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice and Lauren Jones and Jaquez, play my other team, the UConn Huskies, led by Paige Beckers, at 9:30 Pacific. Well, Pacific Coast time will be 6:30. East Coast time, 9:30. So UCLA is actually the underdog going into that game versus UConn. UConn has been here before. This is UCLA's first Final Four appearance. So the jitters could be a problem, but most of these young ladies don't have a memory of, a level of play or a standard of play. This is the first. So there's no real pressure except being the number one overall team in the tournament. You're still an underdog going against the UConn Huskies, who have been in this position many times before. I have my Lady Bruins winning the entire thing. My bracket is still decent. I think I've picked 3 of the 4. So I'm pretty cool with that. And UCLA pulls out the championship, my bracket would not be completely trash. It would actually be pretty decent. But that will be this weekend. So can't wait to see it. It was some good ball. I'm not sure if you got a chance to catch it. mean, these young ladies did not disappoint. Every game was exciting. Every game had some type of ebb and flow, and streaks, 11-0 runs. It's just what basketball is supposed to be, and the competition is where it should be. The intensity and the physicality is there. I think the women's game is in a very good place right now, and the media has done a pretty good job promoting the game. I saw a commercial, and it's unfortunate USC was without Juju Watkins. They played tough. They played very tough without her. They had the little doll on the sideline was, really, touching. But I saw a commercial spot, and I'm just going to show it. I'm not getting paid to show it. It's just free publicity for Nike. But this is the cutest thing I saw today.
Gotta break it on down. Gotta break it on down. Down.
2, 1, Juju. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Juju. 3, 2, 1, Juju. So cool.
Nala, that's gonna be you one day.
The highest human act is to inspire. Neighborhood Nip. Tommy Boy did a great job directing that commercial spot. If you are a girl dad, throw away the affiliation with the schools. I'm a UCLA Bruin through and through. But again, like I said last week, Juju transcends affiliation. The inspiration she offers young girls to be like her. And if you don't know Juju's story, research it. She's very involved in the community. Her family is rich in the history of Los Angeles. And again, I'm heartbroken that she's not playing, but she'll be back. And as she inspires young girls just like this commercial spot, if you don't like that, check your pulse. That little girl melted my heart just saying Juju, the same way we would say Kobe when we shot our shot. She was shooting her shot and she said Juju. Papo in here. What's up, big fella? In the building once again. All right, so again, the women's game is in a great place right now. Can't wait to see the games on Friday. The men's side, again, not as shiny as the girls' game right now. And this is something the media can help. The media can really help with this. Unfortunately, Cooper Flag is going to go to the league. Hopefully he goes to my 76ers. But the men's game this year, without all the fanfare, just wasn't what it used to be, man. Their Final Four games start this Saturday. I mean, I could be wrong. Some of you guys probably love the college game and you probably followed it every single weekend. I watched UCLA as much as I could. Not the biggest Mick Cronin fan. He's a winner. His style of coaching is not my cup of tea. He just seems like, he gets results, but it doesn't seem fun. And a testament to that is us losing our second big man in 2 weeks. So I believe our big man is named Mara, has just entered the transfer portal. So UCLA basketball, we can't afford to run kids off. Mick Cronin jumped on the team mid-season, calling them soft, calling them pansies, calling them spoiled, and it worked. They won 7 games in a row after that comment. However, when kids have options and kids can leave whenever they get ready, there's a different way you can approach that. I would approach that in a manner where it's one-on-one. I would talk to that young man personally. You playing soft. You playing like a chump. I wouldn't publicly blast them like that. That's not going to work with today's kid. You can coach them hard, but there has to be some type of strategy in how you do things. Hopefully we don't lose any more. Hopefully we get guys that will stick around maybe at least 2 or 3 years. But today's transfer portal, I'm going to talk about a little bit later in my 2 cents. It's going to be tough. But you got the men's game this Saturday, April 5th. The games will be in San Antonio, while the ladies will be playing their games. I want to say where that game going to be played. I forgot the location. But the men will be playing in San Antonio. Florida battles Auburn at 6:09 Eastern Time on CBS. And then you'll have Houston versus Duke at 8:49 Eastern Time on CBS. And then the championship game will be Monday at 8:50 Eastern Time, which will be 5:50 for us. And ladies will be playing their championship game on Sunday. So the games are set. I still have Houston winning the whole thing. Duke is favored to win. We got Florida versus Auburn. In the first game, Florida is supposed to win by 2.5 points according to Vegas odds. And the over-under is 162.5, while in the nightcap game, Houston is the underdog to Duke by 4.5 points. Houston defense versus Duke offense. Florida offense versus Auburn defense. Over and under for the Houston-Duke game is 136. A lot more defense going to be played in that game. It's going to be good because it means so much. It's set, ready, and it's a go. Mr. Adger in the building. Man, I think I'm supposed to call you this week, man. I saw you call me. You called me while I was teaching. Matter of fact, I think Papo's class, when you called me, I believe you have some merchandise, some dog tags or something like that. I'm going to hit you up, my brother. I have not forgotten about you. While I'm on that note, this show is brought to us by All In CDL Training, the future of commercial driving. Earn your Class A or Class B and endorsements at All In CDL Training in Long Beach. We're a black-owned business. Phone number 909-708-4861. www.allincdltraining.com. 100% pass rating on your permit test, and we will make sure you get your CDL license in as little as 3 months. It could take longer, but it's up to you and your work ethic. If you want to get it, you'll get it. If you a slacker, it's going to take you a minute. Am I rhyming yet? Am I flowing? Or those bars? Who knows? Regardless, man, check them out. You can go check out All In CDL Training right now on your phone or your laptop. Just search it up. Take a look at the website. Sign up with the email, and somebody will be in contact with you to give you the next steps to get your CDL license. Be on the road making 6 figures, man. Get yourself a new career, man. Mike Harris in the building. What up, bro? All right, so my 2 cents, man. The Yankees scored 15,000 points on the other night. There is a controversy brewing. Aaron Judge and the Yankees hit 9 home runs in one game after using a redesigned bat called the Torpedo bat, where the move of the weight of the wood of the bat is more in the middle of the bat as opposed to it being on the end. So I have a picture of the bat, and you tell me what you think. Jazz Chisholm Jr. used this bat, and it looks like a torpedo. It does look like a submarine, where it's thicker in the middle and then thinner at the tip. So those who have a hard time hitting the ball on the inside portion of the plate, you have the barrel of the bat on the ball. This is not the first time somebody used this bat. Cody Bellinger's been using this bat for a while. It is just now being looked into, but it fits within the parameters of baseball. I think it's 2.5 inches. It has to be less than 42 inches long, and it's made of wood. So they're going to have to adjust the rules, the verbiage, and see what happens. Again, people don't like what they can't understand, what they can't do, or it's open to everybody. Big Mike, it's not exclusive to the Yankees. The Cubs use it. I think a couple other clubs have that same bat. It's just because it's the Yankees. It's because the Yankees. I should probably put this in the Tender Love Report. You too can have a torpedo bat if you spend the money and get your players to use it. It is not banned. It's just being used by a select few people. Tender love to those who are against it. Until the rules say otherwise, play ball. All right, the transfer portal is getting out of hand. Indiana basketball just lost their entire roster to the transfer portal. Now, I'm going to say they lost it because they could still stay, but every single player on the roster, regardless if there's a coaching change, the coaches staying, all, was it 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, all 11 or 12 players jumping ship. They not happy, boss. And this is the reality of college sports today. We're talking about this in my drill chat. Shout out to my main man, my brother, Courtney Simpson, who's recovering from a little situation. We'll talk more about that when he's back on his feet and doing good. But prayers out for my man to get right, because his son is in the portal and looking to go to brighter, more lucrative pastures, as these young men are. It's just how it is. The national champion football Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, had transfers, leaving a championship team. Playing time or not, you stand to make more money because you're the champs. So coaches now have to make a decision. Do I pay a bag to a kid who probably is going to leave after one season? Do I take a chance on a young kid who's thankful for the opportunity, who might be developed to a place where somebody gets a phone call and says, hey, I'll give you $500,000 right now to jump in the portal? That's the decision that's going to be made by somebody's uncle to make a phone call to the mom who's having a hard time paying the rent, and you'll have instant cash with a little cost at the end, a little caveat at the end. A lot of vultures and leeches out here trying their best to latch on to these young men and women, brokering deals with the promise of future endeavors. It is not for the weak. It is what it is. Even if you're coaching today, how do you approach it? Knowing that Coach Calipari and all those guys, the one and done coaches, started this. I know my kid's going pro. Now I know my kid's going to transfer. It's just what it is. You can't be mad about it, because as soon as one leaves, you got to replace them with somebody else. The bag you used to get them in the first place, that same bag with a little bit more on it to get somebody else, hopefully better than the kid that you just left. just lost. So it is wild out there. The wild, wild west, to say the least. Mike says Cincinnati Reds player hit 2 home runs last night with that bat. It's going down. Everybody needs to get that bat. For an inside pitcher, a guy who pitches on the hands. Because that's a no-no for most pitchers is outside high heat, because that's where the barrel of the bat is. But if everybody has a torpedo bat, anything across the middle or inside, I'm getting barrel on the bat. Just imagine if Barry Bonds had one of these bats. Barry Bonds used a very short bat on purpose because he wanted to get that barrel on the ball. What can you do? You have to use a longer bat. You can't tell somebody what size bat to use as long as it's in the framework of the rules. 42 inches or less, 2.5 inches wide. You ain't using them same big barrels we used to use at Westside Long Beach Little League Baseball when the barrel was like 4 inches wide and you had that Bam Bam bat used from the Flintstones. Those are obsolete. So you can't be mad. So we're talking about AR-15 in the Lakers as a bona fide third option. And we're looking at what does it mean to be a superstar. It was a conversation. And I held my tongue because I was trying to think, what are we really talking about here? Star, superstar. AR-15 for the Lakers has been averaging like 25 and 8 and 7. Crazy numbers. They even think he should be labeled superstar. Remember the poster, I'm him. And this is not to bash AR-15. I think he's a great player. But is he a superstar? And you think about the superstars of the past, the faces of the NBA, the faces of the NFL, faces of the MLB. Superstar. That's tough because I don't think we have very many superstars in the NBA. You got LeBron, Steph Curry. Ant-Man has jumped up there. Giannis is kind of there. The best player in the league statistically is Joker. But is Joker a superstar? Or is he just the best player? And can two things be true? And can one thing be true and the other be false? Is AR-15 a superstar because of his stats? You would argue that maybe not. Magic Johnson was a superstar. Kareem was a reluctant superstar. Then you look back, was Kareem a superstar? Or just the best player in the league? Who sells tickets? Juju Watkins is a superstar. Caitlin Clark is a superstar. As crazy as it may sound, Angel Reese is a superstar. Who sells tickets to me is a superstar. Who are you paying to come see play? Jalen Green, superstar. In the making. You're paying to see him play. Amen Thompson is becoming a superstar. Cade Cunningham becoming a superstar. I would pay to go see John Morant. I would pay to see Kyrie Irving. I think there's a fine line between superstar. I think you have to be a rock star of sorts. Cooper Flagg is a superstar. He's a diaper dandy. He's a PT peer. When Dick Vitale used to call guys out, and let you know who you need to watch. I mean, Zion Williamson was a superstar. His star is fading because of his injuries, but you could not watch him play. You had to watch Zion play because he might just do something incredible. So that's why I say I can't call AR-15 a superstar. He has the skills to be a great star in the NBA, possibly a all-star. But superstar, I think, gets tossed around a little bit too much. Walt's in the building. He said AR-15 is not even an all-star yet. Yeah, that's why I told the guys, let's calm down about him being a superstar. But his stats were amazing for the last, 7 or 8 games. He was carrying the Lakers when Luka was hurt and Bron was hurt. The kid can get buckets. The kid can play defense. The kid can play. But he's Opie Cunningham. You cannot recognize him walking down the street unless you watch basketball. Don't your stats make you a superstar? That's what my argument is. No, your stats do not make you a superstar. To me, your stats make you an all-star or an MVP, but your persona, your charisma, your saleability, can you sell sneakers? Can you walk down the street without wearing a uniform and be recognized? Are you a rock star? So I'm a firm believer, Mike, that stats lie. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute when I talk about Deion Sanders and Asante Samuel. Stats will tell you a story that is not absolutely true. LeBron will have the best stats of all time in numerous categories. Do you believe the stats match the accomplishment, the aura, the fandom, the hatred, everything that comes with it? And I got to keep in mind that LeBron is living in a digital age that Kareem didn't live in, nor did Michael Jordan. Those are my top 3. I got Kareem, Michael Jordan, and LeBron. And LeBron and Kobe are like this to me. You either throw in Akeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Then you go Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Shaq, them type of guys. Steph Curry. Tim Duncan. Stats lie, man. Why do you think Emmitt Smith's not the best running back of all time? He has the most yards. You saw what you saw. Barry Sanders and now Saquon Barkley. Guys like that make you say, wow. Whereas Emmitt got his modestly. Very good running back. Top 10, if not top 5. Some people live on stats. I don't. I live on feel. Stats help the conversation, but I don't live on stats. How did you feel as a fan when what you saw over the longevity? Nobody's going to pass LeBron on longevity. But I also look at what Kareem had to go through to get his. A ban from dunking, so he makes a shot that's unblockable, the sky hook. What does AR-15 do that I guess gotta see? I can't miss. Now, let's take stats out of it. Are you trying to watch White Chocolate Jason Williams, or are you trying to watch AR-15 Austin Reeves? Are you trying to watch Lance Stevenson, or are you trying to watch Carmelo Anthony? Like, who's more exciting? You watching Ant-Man, or are you watching Drew Holiday? So superstar, I think, comes with something more than just stats. Mike says, in the case of AR-15, he plays, and everything I see, and everybody sees him play. JGA, Shea Gildas So Shai Gilgeous is going to win the MVP. And he has the swag to be a superstar. Why isn't SGA a bona fide superstar? Because he plays for the OKC Thunder. We don't see him play enough. They're still debating whether or not he should win MVP because Joker stats are better. But he's leading the OKC Thunder to the number 1 ranking in the NBA, East or West. AR-15 got heart. Okay. I can count a lot of guys who have heart. Josh Hart has heart. Lakers let him go. And Lance JW. I'm saying J-Mo. Who you paying to go see? And Jay Moore is at all the games. Courtside. Who are people paying to come see? Other than that, you're a star. You're an NBA star. The superstar faces of the league. Steph Curry, Giannis, Dame, Bron, AD, Tender Love himself, Luka, Ja, Ant, Zion, Jason Tatum. They got a handful of guys you pay to see. I don't think AR-15 is going to ever make that list. He's doing well, though. Not mad at him one bit. Prime, Coach Prime and Asante Samuel have been going back and forth about a particular technique to break on the ball as a defensive back. A T-step versus a flat, straight, I guess it's called a straight plant. Up and down motor plant. Dion is against the T-step plant, whereas Asante Samuel is a advocate for the T-step because he used it quite a bit. And then he goes to the stats, that his stats are comparable to Dion, who is supposed to be the undoubtedly undisputed cornerback GOAT. But Asante Samuel, whose son is currently playing in the NFL, is right up there statistically. Again, I must repeat, stats lie. I remember Asante Samuel and how good he was at making plays. I also remember him getting beat for every pick six he got beat for 2 touchdowns. Because he's a gambler. He sits on routes, and he sits on routes with the T-step. I went to Long Beach Poly, as you all know, and I was coached by one of the greatest coaches of all time on any level, Coach Don Norford. And he taught us, along with a couple of other defensive back legend coaches, whether it be Charles Clinton, Chucky Miller, Marquez Pope, Mark Carrier. Diversify your technique, meaning have a technique for every weather condition, have a technique for every situation that might present itself. You're not always going to be perfect. There will be one day where you use a forward break. There'll be other days where you use a T-step or V-step. I am a coach that teaches quickness. Whatever you can do quick. Straight away, V-step, T-step. I don't care what you do. Get your foot in the ground and come back to the ball. Get your feet back on the ground and come back to the ball. If it's not quick, then we'll adjust your technique. We talked about technique last week with Quincy Wilson. If the technique the kid is using is working, leave him alone. Why be so technical the kid can't play? So in this regard, I disagree with Deion Primetime Sanders, the GOAT of cornerbacks. It is well documented that many defensive back legendary gurus said Deion's technique was not something to really hang your hat on. Same thing with Travis Hunter. Some guys are just flat out ball players and they know how to get the ball. It's not a technique thing, it's a physical thing. They were just faster and more instinctive and they just knew how to get their ball. Great ball skills. Asante Samuel wasn't very big, but if you watch him play, he was going to jump a route. He would jump a hitch, he would jump an out, he would jump a slant. He had his foot in the ground, he was ready to go. And T-step worked for him, and it was quick. I'm pretty sure most defensive backs have a T-step in their repertoire. Because there will be a game where you play at a venue where the grass is not as thick, and you have to put more cleats in the ground. That's why I was taught T-step. As a taller corner, taller players, you have to get more cleats in the ground so you don't fall. So it's just common sense that if I can get more cleats in the ground with a T-step and it's wet and the grass is loose, that will be your better break. Not just getting longer cleats. Say your ankle hurts. Say you have an Achilles soreness. T-step takes the pressure off your Achilles. So I would say don't limit your kids to one type of break. Teach them all. Teach them different varieties of breaks so then when they get to a new coach who believes in a certain way, they won't be first time ever doing this type of technique. People ask me all the time, how do poly kids make it? Because poly kids are prepared for different coaches' philosophies. So they don't jump up there and say, I never did this way. That's not how my coach taught me. That's the worst thing you can tell a coach, is that I don't do it like that. Poly kids are told and raised to adjust to your new coach. Ronnie Saucin here. He said SGA has to do more because his game is not sexy. The mid-range dudes, man. SGA is a mid-range king. Strong handle, strong body. Bang up against your chest. Give you a nice little floater. 35 a night. The NBA wants parity. But once again, he'll be a foreign player because he plays for Canada. He won't be an American. How many MVPs would that been in a row? Jay Most thinks it's hilarious. A T-step. Diversity is the best way. Thick grass at BYU. Wet, long, thick grass. You better put your foot in the ground in those areas, man. All right, so it's not sports related, but it kind of is. You figure Marvin Sapp, the last name Sapp, runs deep in the sports world. Warren Sapp, Bob Sapp, Marvin Sapp, Lakers in 5. All right, so what Marvin Sapp is in hot water for is a conference he attended last year. And as a pastor myself, the only thing I saw wrong with what he did was his tone and how indignant he was with his delivery. Most churches have to lock the doors during offering. If you've ever seen a church being held by gunpoint, that is common today in churches to make sure the doors are locked during offering so nobody runs in and steals the offering. And I know you want to say you're a man of faith. Why do you have fear? It's not fear. It's just what you need to do in Los Angeles. I'm not sure how they do it in the Midwest or in the East, but Los Angeles churches have been known to get robbed. So the doors being locked is not a big deal to me. The way he said it, the way he said lock the doors, lock the doors, lock the doors was kind of like, puffed up. And that was, to me, there's another way of doing that. And then he only asked for $20. I don't understand why that's such a hard ask if you have that many people at a conference. That wasn't his conference. It was a church, he said, in Baltimore. That was not his church. His church was already paid for. He passed off his church as he dealt with his wife's passing. And this is not a big Warren Sapp defense rant. My thing is, don't let this be a reason why you don't believe. Find yourself a authentic Bible-based church and not forsake the fellowship of the brethren and the sister. A lot of people use things like this to stay further away from God. I hope this is not what comes from this. If you use this as another reason why you hate church or whatever it is, that ain't the church for you. If you feel some kind of way, then that ain't the church for you. And that's understandable. But if this is something that draws you further away, then you have to understand that this is the overall attack on the church, on the whole. Like from January 6th uprising at the Capitol, where the name Christian took a black eye because those guys claim to be Christians, or the Ku Klux Klan claiming to be Christian, or slave owners claiming to be Christians, and they use the Bible to their advantage. Some extreme right-wing people use the Bible to push their agenda, and that drives people away. Your spirit will tell you when something's not right. And I will just say that. Don't allow a viral video make you less likely to have a relationship with Yeshua. If nothing else, it would cause you to want to find a house of worship that does not do that, that is not puffed up, does not have a celebrity up there every week to get people to come or to get people to give. And mind you, the church does have bills, and the church does have, it may be tax-free, but there are still costs to having functions, to turn the lights on, to have an alarm system, to have a secretary, to have a custodian. Some pastors don't take a salary, and if they do, it's very minimal because most of the salary goes right back into the church. Nonprofit means the money that we make goes back into the organization. So again, not a necessarily Marvin Sapp apologetic rant, but one to say, don't let that video be the reason why you miss heaven. That is not everybody. And he knows that he should have changed his tone. He said it on the Ricky Smiley show. Roddy Saw says, Asante has more than 10 DBs ahead of him. No one talks about Dale Carter, but he is the only one I would consider going by the film. I actually had to go against Dale Carter, man. I was with the New Orleans Saints, and Dale Carter, I forgot the other defensive back. There was a safety they had that was a killer, and they were on special teams. They were mad about it. I was a gunner, punt coverage, and Dale Carter, I want to say Deron Cherry. Was it Deron Cherry and Dale Carter? And I tell you, man, I ain't never been hemmed up like that. And I had to go against them all week because when you do joint practices, it's all week long. I was having nightmares about them dudes, man. Dale Carter was so physically intimidating. The longest, strongest arms. I thought it was Deion Lambert all over again. Just an incredible athlete too, man. Long. I'm pretty tall, but he was, if not my height or even taller. And just a mean dude, man. Just mean. Cool, but mean when it came between them lines, man. Dale Carter was a monster out there, brother. Monster. J Mo said, yes, common sense because big cash offering need to close the doors for security. And not to belittle people's earnings. But if you have 1,000 people in the sanctuary and everybody gives $20, that's not a lot of money. Considering a convention that has food and goodie bags and materials to pass out. The man said he got no money from that conference, which we don't know whether or not he got paid. But usually when you have a guest talent, that talent gets something for their travel, their expenses. But conferences cost money. And somebody said, well, if conferences cost so much, why do you have them? Revivals, big, shutdown meetings happen all the time. And again, reunions, Conferences, they happen all the time in the church world. If you're not familiar with the church world, you're not familiar with, the activities that go on, then it will seem like if he locked the doors on me, I'm going to bogart up out of there. I ain't doing it. He didn't ask for $200. He asked for $20. What you're going to spend at Starbucks. Now, if you're part of a church and you're part of leadership, there's a leadership meeting where the pastor may come to the leadership and ask for a chunk because they have big bills to pay. There's a hole in the roof, or we need a new air conditioning unit where the building fund is not paying enough. We're going to have to come together as leaders and put down some real money to make sure the church has what it needs. You don't go to the outside asking for federal funds. You don't ask the members of the public to help pay a bill. You ask for the members to take care of that church. That church is taken care of by the members of that church. So again, if you're not part of a church, of course, this sounds a little bit crazy to you, that somebody would lock the doors and lock me in. I don't think he was doing that. I think it was a conference and there was a lobby and things were going on all over the place. And he was saying, close the doors so we can have some intimacy here. But people are going to think what they want to think. And now Marvin Sapp has to deal with people leaving his church or people saying crazy things to him. He's saying he's being harassed. His kids are being harassed. And now he's getting death threats. So that's unfortunate. Much of the cost starting with the mortgage or the lease, all the way to the programs that people use to let their bad kids draw on to keep them quiet. Everything costs money, man. The program costs $5,000. The bags cost $2,000. The materials inside the bags, the pens, the USB cards that come with them, all that stuff costs money, man. Ain't nothing free. Yep, Cherry was out there putting hands on me and they was picking me up and throwing me down. Those people complaining about giving in church will pay for parking and a whole weekend pass for an AAU tournament every weekend. I used to hate that, man. Here you pay $300 for them to play in an AAU team and you go to the game, it's $15 to get in, $35 to park, and don't get a soda pop or some chips. It's gonna be $18.50. Man, I walk in with the team. I'm saying I'm a coach. I wear a sweatsuit. I wear a sweatsuit and basketball shoes and try to walk in with the team every time, man. Well, he said those doors had no locks, and that's why I was slow when I saw it. I was slow to make my assumptions. I said we don't know what they're raising the money for. First of all, they could be raising it for something important. Somebody might need surgery. Something might be, and they were like, well, he could hawk that watch he's wearing. We don't know the situation, y'all. Give a man a break. Now he got to live with it, and now he knows his tone and his communication has to be on point if you're gonna be streaming, or you got people with their cell phones out recording you. Always be mindful of what you say and what you do, because people will use what you say and what you do against you in the public court of law. They say, I don't miss those calls. Man, when my son stopped playing basketball and started playing football, all them little calls was gone, man. AAU is a racket. I went to the game one time and I saw all these kids had on fresh new Nikes, fresh new Adidas, fresh new Pumas. And I'm looking at the shoes alone, from the tiny mites, the 5-year-olds to the 18-year-olds. You're talking about thousands pairs of sneakers. At the Bigfoot Classic in Las Vegas, I just looked at the shoes for a moment and I was just like, man, I'm in the wrong business. I should make myself a shoe, because these kids out here wearing the top of the line expensive shoes. And 98% of these kids are not going to play in college. That's what's mind-boggling to me, is that parents are not realistic, that this is not going to be little Timmy's ticket out the ghetto. Very few. They said them carrying bags. I'm trying to tell you, man, it's costs. Unnecessary costs, possibly, but you want people to have takeaways from a conference. because it's a revival of sorts. It's going to get you inspired to do more. I went to a conference in 1994. It was called Impact 94, and it cost $2,700 to go to this conference. It was a youth conference in Atlanta, and my wife and I were both part of a ministry at UCLA called Athletes in Action, and our mentor was Mr. Pastor Rod Hairston, and his wife Sherry Hairston was my wife's mentor, and Rod was my mentor, and they invited us to go to Impact 94, and it cost money. So I asked my church to sponsor me, and they raised that money in 5 minutes to send me and my wife to Impact 94. We were just college kids, and our trip and everything was paid for in a matter of 5-10 minutes. And we got there, they had books, they had carrying bags, they had, hotel accommodations, they had food, guest speakers, everything. Well worth the $2,750. Jay Moore went, Kevin Jordan went, myself, Marquise Burns went, a bunch of us UCLA athletes went. And Miles McPherson was a key speaker, and he still has a church to this day. We learned so much about ourselves, man. It was so important for us to be there as young people. And the takeaways, I believe I still have my books, Jay Moore. I still have the books about young men and how we should, be carrying ourselves. And all different topics that we have to engage in. So I don't speak negatively about, conferences not being worthwhile, because they do impact people's lives for the generation to come. I can't say that I wouldn't be who I am today without that conference. That young conference right there. I think Javelin went too. Javelin Guidry was with us. We had a good group of guys go down there. And some young ladies went down there too from UCLA. We had a great little group. And we were all believers. We're going down there, and it changed our lives for the better. And we met some other guys, some guys from Auburn. I think Auburn had won the national championship. Guys had the national championship rings. They were flaunting them and everything. It was a good time, man. We spent some time with Miles McPherson, who played at Syracuse, played in the NFL. And he shared with us, and it was a good time, man. It really was. My OG in here, Chucky Miller, Van Gogh, you always have to explain yourself to uninformed people. Every single time, Van Gogh had to explain himself at the Don Norford event. Shame on y'all who have no idea what happens in the backstage, what's happening behind the scenes. A man was doing more work than he was never going to get paid for, organized an event that was so big and so wonderful and so lovely, like full of love and camaraderie. Everybody was still talking about it weeks later. And then somebody had a nerve to say, where's the money going? Come on, man. Come on, man. If you're not involved in the planning, you're not involved in the actual work, before you speak, watch. If you don't see it in the production, then you might be able to say something. But when you see the production is tight, you see everything is on time, you see everything happen as planned, you got to step back and say they did that. There's too many folks got something to say. We don't know what they did with that offering that Marvin Sapp raised. All I'm going to say to him is how you do things definitely affects those who are already looking for something, already have their chip on their shoulder, already mad because you're sitting up there a millionaire asking for money. Just think about it, man. Walt said AAU and EYBL tournaments cost too much to attend these days, especially if it's going to be streaming on YouTube. I'm going to watch it on YouTube for the free. Mike said double OT in Denver between Minnesota. Missing the game. But you guess what I got? I got Sports Center, bro. I'm going to catch the replay on Sports Center. Joker got 56. Ooh-wee. And I'm sure not one highlight. He got 56 quiet points. What did Joker do that was so spectacular? Well, he had 56 total points. Wasn't a whole bunch to see except a bunch of threes, a bunch of back downs. J Mo said, yes, I still talk to folks I met there in Atlanta. I don't know where I got the funds. It just happened, man. It was a good time. It was a good time. Hey, my Tender Love Report, man. Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Stephen A. said if LeBron James would have hit him, he would have definitely swung. Come on, man. I call cap. He would have grabbed LeBron and said, stop hitting me. I don't think he would have swung on LeBron James. I don't think he is that kind of guy. I think he would have took the slap like Chris Rock. I don't know. Lay said nothing, a lot of free throws. The best player in the world, man. He makes it look easy. It's too easy. Tender Love Report. Definitely got to throw on the song for this. NFL coaches want to ban the tush push. The Philadelphia Eagles brotherly love shove. They say it's dangerous, yet there are no injuries to report. But the possibility of guys getting injured is what we're talking about. Nah, man, you don't want the Eagles to run it because it's so effective. And the main teams that's complaining are the teams that the Eagles beat. Guess what, man? You too can run the tush push. You practice it. You torpedo your lineman and your quarterback runs on top of your lineman and you get 3 yards a pop. 9 out of 10 times it's money. When the Buffalo Bills could not execute it because Josh Allen did not commit to it. He was too high. You got to get horizontal. You can't be vertical on the tush push. They tabled the discussion because they know if we all can do it, how you going to ban one team from doing it? It's not the same as when Kareem was dunking the ball and they banned dunking. Y'all have the same ability to put your tight end behind your quarterback, your running back behind your tight end, and y'all all push in the same hole. The other argument is you can't push a defensive guy to block a field goal. Well, that's special teams. You can't do that. But on defense, you can push each other. If there's a sneak, the problem with that is they can pull it out and do a play action boot, and it's a wrap. It is somewhat unfair that the Eagles have perfected it. But the fact that they are not exclusive to it is similar to the torpedo bat discussion we had earlier. Everybody can get a torpedo bat. Nobody's taking PEDs. Nobody's taking full-on steroids. Some guys are just in the weight room, and some guys just have the it factor. Jalen Hurts has it when it comes to that quarterback sneak. And now that we're the reigning champs, people want to cry about it. I don't think they're going to ban it. They might make an adjustment, say only one player can push, something like that. You can't ban a quarterback sneak, man. Rod Saw said LeBron and SAS acting real petty. That's why they on the Tender Love Report, man. Stephen A. looking for attention. I don't know why he's looking for attention, man. He's the most recognizable personality in sports. Not always for the right reasons, but that's what he got. He's the highest paid personality on ESPN. But the fact that he don't have LeBron James' phone number is what's irking him. So now he gonna bring up some old stuff that maybe not might be. If that man would have put his hands on me, I would have swung on him immediately. Cap. Baseball cap. All types of caps. You ain't touching that man. That man's 6'9", 265, bro. We saw you punching the bags. You can't punch. All right, man. I'm a former barber. And I saw this haircut. And I looked in closely. MVP of the NBA Finals last year, Jaylen Brown, cut his braids off. And if you zoom in, you can see it's about to be a wrap for my man. It's getting real LeBron-ish. It's getting low. Getting real low. And as a barber, I'd be a little bit worried. I wouldn't have took it down this low. I would have left it at a 2 guard, and I would have edged it up and have him train his hair over again. Going down with a 1 guard, you playing with fire, man. It's like a guy getting a jerry curl cut off, and then you go down to the roots. My man's texture is just changed. And all you guys that I used to be your barber, you know what I'm talking about. I'll give you some advice. Don't go that low. With that being said, and Jeff, you know what I'm talking about. You're one of my clients. I had to run to the comments. He said LeBron would have whooped him. At least he said something that was truthful. That boy definitely caused his mama to have a C-section. The comment section didn't disappoint, man. They said, well-groomed coconut. Back-to-back braid styles is not practical. Gotta fro in and out and let the scalp rest sometimes. Should have been cut it. He could have had waves by now. I was like, oh no, it's gonna get worse. Oh man, he said Jaylen Brown, Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, James Brown, Lakers in 5. Is this N-word hair thinning? Absolutely. Absolutely. Whoever they play in the first round, I'm taking the other team in 5. My guy going on the hairline. He said, dang, who cut his hair? His mama is that a handicap sign? Oh, trash. Who cut his hair? His mama is trash. Oh, man. He should have rocked the Gumby again. Yeah, wear the Gumby one more time. Tell me this nigga head don't look like a kiwi. Good look before the braids. That nigga was already going. Man, it's cold-blooded when you can't even get a good haircut without the peopleization coming after you, man. Never post a haircut pic. They're going to come after you if your haircut is tight about your smile, about your demeanor. J-Mo said, $2 cuts. Yes, left my cowlick alone. I used to cut everybody's hair for $3. And some guys like Jeffrey Adger and Bama Pruitt would come every 3rd day like it was a shave. Say, bro, your hair is not going to look crisp if you don't give it a chance to grow out. You have to give your hair a chance to grow out so it'll look crisp. I wasn't using razor blades. I wasn't using the airbrush spray to tighten up your line. I was straight T-liners and clippers. Just 2 and scissors. 2 forms of clippers and my scissors. That was it. No enhancements. Straight up. Straight up. Real quick, man, Coach Cobb's Corner. As I work at this high school and I see kids training, getting ready for their next season, and I have several kids in my classroom, and I see the dynamic across the country, once again, of unrealistic parents. I see kids with a 2.3. I see kids with a 0.8, 0.33, and they're practicing in the off season. And I'm like, what are you practicing for? You're not going to be eligible because you're not taking your academics seriously. The reason why sports is so important is not for them to go pro. In many cases, it's not even for them to get an athletic scholarship. It's to teach young people the benefit, the long-term effects of hard work and dedication and accountability. Your sport has a minimum GPA. You must have a 2.0 GPA in order to compete. That means you have to take some type of ownership of your academic career. And there's no way around it. Even those who are very good have to somehow or another come up with all C's. An A can balance out an F. A B can balance out a D. But if you're like me, if you coach young people, I don't allow D's on the field. Because what does that say? If he has an A in track and field and a D in English, can't write, can't comprehend what he's reading, this is going to probably be a kid who does not make it to college on an academic or athletic scholarship. So what are we doing? How many tech jobs or trade jobs are there? Because you still have to find a trade if you're not going to make it in sports. I would hope that parents would use sports as a means to incentivize work ethic. Your grades matter because they teach you to be accountable in everything you put your name on. I don't care if you're good at math, but you need to give math some effort. The same thing would happen if you play football. I don't care if you're good in the weight room, but your work ethic will tell me a lot about you. Do you work hard? Do you want this? I can't want it more than you. I teach graphic design and film. And some would say it's a fun class or fun, exciting class because you can make films and all kind of cool things. But I have kids who are failing my class, and I've never failed so many kids in my life. This new generation of kids, I think it's because there's a new generation of parents. Parents, you cannot neglect the morals and work ethic your parents gave you. We're letting these kids off the hook, allowing them to come home with bad grades, and still blessing them. I had a kid today. He has 5 F's and a D, and he had on crispy, brand new Jordan 11s. I felt like taking him off his feet because I'm like, yo, how come you had a crispy pair of J's and I got on some dusty J's? I work hard and you don't work hard at all. But somebody thought it would be a good idea to give you the brand new $250 pair of Jordan 11s. I was upset. I was like, yo, I wanted to call the parents when I saw that. But I was like, let me just stay in my lane. The school year is almost over. Let me just chalk it up because it's a different day. And some of these parents, I guess, are 20 years younger than me, which is scary. I think those are millennials. And they've raised kids who don't care about anything. I have never seen so many crashed out kids in my life. What are they going to do? They got to go to the service and get reestablished with some discipline. Get reintroduced to some discipline in their life. Something ain't right, man. Joker got 60. Hey, he might mess around and steal the MVP from SGA. He got a couple of games left. Well, they got 6 games left. Shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans for shutting down Zion. With 6 games left. Yeah, big brother Dwight. It's a bad state of affairs for our young people these days. But parents, it's up to us to step back in and introduce our kid to some reality. I'm thankful to Yeshua that my kids took their academics seriously and never brought home anything less than a B. I'm very, very thankful for that. So I said 5 F's and a D with J's on. This is why I'm real hesitant to go into teaching. Bruh, I was ready to start a fight in that classroom. Because I said, who? It must have been a distant family member that brought those to the. I'm like, why? Why? 61, 10, and 10. That's a crazy Wilt Chamberlain type stat line. Joker gonna steal the MVP, man. 4 MVPs. If he gets 4, I still don't have Joker above Dream, Wilt, Shaq, and Kareem. Why is that? Am I biased? Am I crazy? Or I saw what I saw? A stat generation where stats can be a little bit skewed, because I believe Karl Anthony Towns had 70 points last year. I put Karl Anthony Towns on my prize picks. The man got 12 points. How you score 70 one day and then the next day you score 12? It's a different day, my brothers. Mike Staff said Russ just cost the McNuggets with his late sequence of events. Are you surprised? Russ thinks he's still 25. Russ, you old like us, man. Calm down. Like you said, he's not fun to watch. You can be effective and not fun to watch. Joker ain't above Moses either, in my opinion, but he's nice. He's nice. He's really, really good. But when he played against healthy Embiid, not gonna happen. OG Roz Pearson in here. Everything's well, my brother. We still gotta work together on some kind of project, man. I ain't forgot about you. Russ just missed an open layup with his team up. With what, seconds left? Then fouled a player shooting a three. Hey, man, some guys are erratic. Some guys are too athletic. Game? Oh, well, it happens, man. I'm going to get out of here, man. My last segment, of course, Unk season. Always got to finish with something light. I did see this. Bron is retiring. According to Mike Staff, Sweet Brother Noomsy, LeBron James has officially announced his retirement on this April Fool's Day. So, worship the king. Worship the king. Bronny had 52 points. That is not April Fool's. In the G League, 52 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. He's getting comfortable. Maybe we were wrong about Bronny, for those who said he wouldn't make it. In other news, Keon Anthony did not make the McDonald's All-American game, as his father once dominated the McDonald's All-American game. And I think Carmelo has a point here. Without saying it, he said it. The number one player in New York is not in the McDonald's All-American game. And yet, one of his friend's sons played in a McDonald's All-American game, and he wasn't even the best player in California. Make that make sense for those who think nepotism is not the reason why Bronny James is in the NBA. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Absolutely a joke, Mike Staff. We know that. That's why it's an April Fool's post. All too easy. Let's make it happen. Got you, bro. Absolutely. It was an April Fool's with Bron retiring. We know that man ain't going to retire till Bryce getting the NBA. He's too self-serving. He's too concerned about his legacy, and he's not getting the love. All right, so we've all seen the Michael Jackson Thriller music video / movie, right? Well, this Unk season, my son sent me this one. This Unk said he was in the Thriller video. And I have to believe him. He's on point. So far, so good. Oh, yeah. Hey. Hey, Unc got my vote, man. He got it down pat. If he wasn't in the video, he put the work in. He practiced. He did not miss one step. I say give that man his flowers. He was definitely in the Thriller video. Shout out to that Unc. All right, man. That's my show. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with your boy, man. Hey, I also want to invite you guys to church this Sunday. If you don't have a church home, 3960 East Gilman Street, 3CLA Ministries. It's my turn to teach the next 2 weeks. So come through. If you don't have anywhere to be, it's at 11 a.m. in Long Beach. If you need more information, hit me up. Hit me up on Messenger. Anywhere you want to hit me up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere. I'll let you know what the haps are. I would love to see you. All right, y'all. That's my time. It's AC Sports Live. I'll see you next time. And there's AC2. The big fella, as you can see in the background, got the DSU Hornets schedule on the wall. It's getting close. It's getting time to get it going. All right, y'all. He had 35 years of practice. Yeah. Definitely 35 years of practice. All right, y'all. Till next time. Shalom, shalom.